rusty wheels and knew I'd take her home. I brought her to my farm in an Amish neighborhood where simple living's valued. She'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years and let her sew again.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So if you saw in that shot, I have a very rusty crusty Singer 66, and she is completely locked up. But she is a model that does have the back tack reverse stitch, and she was wired for a motor at one point. She is going to be motorized again. So hopefully this goes really well. Let me go ahead and turn the camera down and we'll get started. So, yeah, she's a little bit iffy. Her bobbin case hook area is very, very rusty. If I'm not able to retrieve it, I can replace this. So that's not a do or die kind of thing. Her plate is nasty, so I'm going to see what I can do to get that buffed off. If I cannot make it look nice, they do sell reproduction 66. It's the same as a 99, 66 and 99 plate, so that is an option there too. So I cannot turn the wheel. Well, maybe I can. Maybe I can. If I can get this needle up. No, it's not going to go up. All right, well, since I can't get the needle up, let's just get started up here and see what we can get out. And eventually we'll find that piece that has it stuck. Actually, what I'm going to do is spray her down. This is my nano oil, which I love, but the air is lacking. I saw a hack, and I did it, where you inject air from the air compressor back into the can, and it does work a little bit, but you know, still issues. But I'm just going to go ahead and coat her. I'm going to flip her over, coat her bottom parts and everything, just so that it can be sitting, getting hopeful, thinking about its new life and everything. On a 66, there's only these two shafts and a whole bunch of stuff going on over here, so I'm going to saturate this whole area. I doubt this is what is holding it, but I'll throw some on that area too. I was going to try to raise the lifter lever and get that up, but that's not going anywhere. But I'm going to try to get this plate off also, so that I can spray down what's going on in here. And that looks terrible, you know. We can make it work though, you know. I've seen worse. Just giving her a good soak. While that is going on, I'm going to go ahead and take off her light and motor. Well, not motor, but the motor block over here. So, to come back to that in a second. Okay. So I'm guessing she had one of those BR something something motors at one point, but you know, that's a bit scary, so go ahead and take you down. And I actually have a light motor setup compatible with this age that I took off of another 66 that the customer only wanted it as a treadle and told me to keep the motor. So So I believe I have a replacement that I can make work here. I want to get this apart. But even though the wirings are toast on here, I think this little block here is salvageable. So I want to keep that. Okay. And this needs a good clean. Since there's nothing electric on this right now, and it's really nasty, I think I can go ahead and run that through my ultrasonic just to clean it up. Okay, just ran it in there for a minute. It's like brand new. I'm just going to leave it to sit aside and totally dry out. But yeah, I think that that's definitely going to be reusable. And while I have her tipped up like this, I think I can get a screwdriver in over here. If this will turn. Okay, so the electrics are off. I'm just going to leave her to let her penetrating oil do its business, and I'll be back later. Okay, she hasn't actually sat that long, but I was looking at her, you know, trying a few things, and I think that she is rusty enough. It's about the extent of her movement there. This is completely fried, so I can't lift this to get in there. I'm going to go ahead and throw this whole machine into my little evaporest bath over there and just let her sit in there overnight and let it work its magic, you know, that it can do internally and everything like that. And then once she comes out of there, I think it'll be a lot easier to take her apart. So over here, that little trash can there, that's full of evaporest. I can just set her on her nose in there and just completely submerge her. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So next time you see her, hopefully she'll be coming out of that bath and moving a little bit freer. Hello and welcome to the next morning. So I just pulled her out and I was going to rinse her, and I wanted to show you what they look like because I was severely chastised online once for suggesting putting a very, very rusty machine into evaporest. So first of all, the shellac layer will come off if you put them in evaporest. It will do absolutely nothing, in my opinion, to Japanning. If you see, if I pull this shellac off, the Japanning stays intact. So honestly, a machine like this, if you wanted to just, you know, clean her up, re-decal her, you know, and re-clear coat her, and they're really, really rusty, I think evaporest is a good way to go. It's very expensive to get a whole tank like that. It's a couple $100. But, you know, it does the trick. It really does. And if you're doing a lot of them, especially rescues like I do, where they're really rusty, you can see that it's going to do great. So, turning her this way, do you remember how rusty everything was in here? And look how clean it is now. Now, down here, where it's black, the evaporest turned the rest to this black, and I can polish that off. But, oops, I have the back of the wheel taken off here, so we can't get to that right now. I have to put the wheel back. I have the wheel on, but I don't have the locking nut on. But this is a lot freer now. Let's see if I can raise this. Oops, still not, but that's okay. That's okay, we're making progress. Other things, you know, are looser and things like that. So I am going to need to, actually, usually if I'm going to be working on them, I rinse the evaporest off and then I just have moisture on here. But since she's going to be going straight into the stripping tank when I'm done, I might just go over to my air compressor, blow her out with the air gun, get anything loose out, and then we'll just get started taking her apart. But one other thing, I don't know if you remember how rusty this was. Look how pretty that came. Now there's some bits over here that I'm going to need to polish up, but the rest is gone. So, you know, that's a good thing. Very good thing. So yeah, let me get done putting the little pieces. The other bits that I threw in were like the little wheel pieces and things. And the wheel was stuck on before. It has come off. We've got a little bit of pitting over here in the chrome. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Haven't decided yet. Okay, everybody, welcome back. I have actually been doing other things for the last day or so, so this has just been sitting. And what I want you to see is all of this yellow here. That is the shellac that I did not wipe off before. But where it's really shiny, that's where I did. So, you know, just getting a look at how all of that works. So, we're going to go ahead and get started taking apart the nose up here first. Now, before I get to that, actually, I wanted to show you the balance wheel on this has some pretty thick pitting in the chrome. And even though I can get the rest out of those pits, it'll still have an indent, you know. So actually on this machine, because she is going to be fully repainted, I'm going to swap it out with this one. You know, it was pre-painted, but when I strip the paint off this, it'll be a nice smooth edge, and I don't have to worry about what to do with this pitted chrome part here. But you've seen before, I have sanded them and everything and made them look as good as possible. But since she is a more modern-ish, you know, relatively machine, we're going to go with this look, I think. Okie doke. Because I cannot lift this lifter lever yet. Let's see if I can just start up here at the top and go from there. So this looks like a job for a bit of rubber and vice grips. Is it turning? It is turning. Okay, well, I think I'm just going to have to do this for a second. Hang on a sec. I'm going to move you up here so I don't bump you. And look, my glove is already toast. Oh, well. Okay. So there's that top finial off. And, oh, stop. Hang on a second. Oh, I want to show you something I did. Okay, down here on my floor, what I did is I bought these black strips. These are magnets. They are, I have 5 strips of them. They are 5 feet long, so that when things fall, hopefully they won't roll away as often. And they do work, you know, they're not super strong magnets, so they'll slow it down, and it makes it a lot easier to find little parts, you know. I need to get another dish. So anyway, that's a fun thing. Oh, you know what I need to do is take this little screw off. That is the screw that holds the front faceplate on. I'm going to take that off and put it with my plates. And yeah, I may buy some new reproduction plates for here, both sets, just so that they match. Just kind of like with the hand wheel, how that's kind of toasty, you know. Okay, so with that off, will this move? No, I have a feeling it's in here, that it's kind of welded. And so I am going to attempt to take this off. She was so rusty. I'm not gripping it hard, but sometimes just having an extra large handle, you know, helps to get a grip there. Okay. Pulling this off because no one wants to be stabbed. And pulling out the needle. Okay, she's going to get a new needle, so this one's going to go away for a bit. Okay. And I'm going to see about Loosening this up also. Here it is. I got up to write myself a note about those slide plates. Misplaced my things. There it goes. I'm just gonna just ignore that. When it gets to the point that this finger falls off, then I'll switch out the glove, you know. I'm gonna pull off this foot. And I want to get this moved down so it is a bit out of my way. This is a needle threader. Okay. And put presser foot things in this bowl, needle things in this bowl. Okay, so back here, there is a little screw that I want to get this thread guide off. Wrong. Let's grab this one. That's a better bit. Nope. Still too big. That works. Okay. Okay. There you go. That goes with needle stuff. This washer goes with presser bar stuff. So now this is clean down here. So if I get to the point where I can actually move these bars out, I'm free to do that. Let's go ahead and get this off. I'm going to have to tip her up on her back so I can really press down hard. All right, so before I get started, even though I did this once before, I'm throwing some more oil all over the place. Figure that might, by osmosis, go through into that side. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Let's see if we can get this side off first. Get in that little slit. Oh, it does not want to go. Okay, well, let's see if we can get this whole clamp off. This bar here is attached to this clamp. So if I can get this off, this will come off with it. This is notoriously a bad screw when everything is stuck together. Okay, so here's this little set screw. Okay, looking like this. So at this point, the only thing holding this bar in is crud. So I need to go find my little wrench. Here it is. So what I'm going to do is just get it onto the flat part here. Come on, right? Hang on a second. I'm having trouble thinking. I need to put this wrench on here and just start turning it. And hopefully all that oil that I put up here is going to start to loosen things up. Let's do a little more. I need to be able to push it all up here. So I'm wiggling and pushing up at the same time. I'm going to grab it up on top, up here. Finish wiggling and pulling. Okay, so there we go. I can get this all polished up. So that's great. And this should come out now. Okay. You can see where that was stuck. You see that bit of rust there? It was so tight. I think that might have been what was holding this together. So anyway, let me get that bagged up and we'll move on to the needle bar. Alrighty, so her balance wheel is off and she still turns very stiffly, so I just have a vice grip down here that I can use to rotate. Apparently it wasn't gripped on like a vice grip should be. Back it off a bit. Okay. Put my rubber on there. That would be a good call, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Okay, so now I can grip it well. Up here on the fairly stuck needle bar, I was rotating it so I could get this part lowered to its lowest position, and I think I have. Oh my gosh, it's not even turning. Very stiff, but thankfully it stuck again with this down. So there is a hole in the back. I'm going to put my screwdriver into that hole and try to reach through to that screw in the back of the needle clamp and loosen it up if I can. Everything is very sticky. Oh, I see it turning. Yay! Let me see if I can pull this all the way out. Be with me. Okay, come on. It should be about out. All right, at this point it's out. It hasn't fallen out, but it's out far enough that it shouldn't be clamping up against this. So, once again, putting my little wrench down here on the flatter part, I'm just going to try to rotate it. Yes, the needle bar is moving freely. Yay. If I can move that out of the way. Can I pull this out? Yes, I can. Okay, so my needle bar is out. I'm happy about that. And can I pull this out? Yes, that's what I was unscrewing from the back. All right. I'm going to skip over and take off. This is a little tension release Y-shaped thingy. And this here, I'm going to pull off. This is just for timing. It's a little clip, okay? So that's going to go with needle bar stuff. Can you see? I'm going to go ahead and get this lifter lever off here. If I had my all-purpose how to unfreeze very rusty machines that you don't care about the paint spa day treatment, what I would do is throw it, take off the electrical and whatever else comes loose easily. Put everything in, except the electrical, the evaporest. Pull it out, rinse it off, dry it off with the compressed air, and throw it in a bath of kerosene and let it sit in the kerosene overnight. I don't have a kerosene bath set up right now. I'm actually using the bucket I used to use for kerosene for my evaporest, so I need to get another one. But throw it in there for a day and then pull it out and then disassemble it, because I think that would make life a lot easier. Okay. So that's probably going to be next on my list. Now let me try to unscrew this. Yay, that came loose. Oh my goodness. But you have to kind of rinse the evaporest off, because otherwise it turns very sticky, when you take it off. So. And she was washed off. If I was going to take her out and disassemble her immediately after I took off the evaporest, I don't know, but she does need to be disassembled. Okay, at this point, I have this mechanism. Now, if on this side down here, there's a little set screw right here, and I'm going to try to pull this thing out as a whole. But the first thing I'm going to have to do is rotate this so that this is accessible from this hole up here. So let's see if I can do that. Nope, I need to work on my vice grip here again because it is not gripping. Hang on. Okay, it's turning now. So shoot, I need to reposition it. Come over here, baby. Okay. I think that's about right. So if I stick a screwdriver in from over here, I need to be able to get it up there. So let me go just a bit further. There. All right. Right there. All right. Now, I'm going to tip her on her side, just knowing how everything else has been really tight. And so if I tip her on her side here, inside this little hole there, I can see that screw. But I'm going to be pushing down really, really hard. So I'm going to get the wooden handle of my screwdriver to stick under that cam so it won't go far. And it's coming loose. Yay! Hang on a sec. I'm going to try to grab it with the screw starter. There it goes. All right, so there's that little set screw. Now, I'm going to put her back up here. And I need to take this screw out. This is cut all the way across. When they're not cut all the way across, they're reverse threaded. When they are, sometimes they're not. So we're going to give it a shot with a regular righty-tighty, lefty-loosey first. Okey-doke, let's see. I'm going to put a bigger bit on. And look, I want to show you. I got a new mini fridge. Well, it's new to me. It's one of those Facebook marketplace finds where you show up and it's a crack house and you just don't want to upset the people and there's huge dogs everywhere. And then I got it and I got it home and cleaned it up and it runs. So, hey, that's cool. All right. This was not being agreeable. So I'm going to tip her up. Move you. Oh, my goodness. Camera angles. They're the death of me. Okay. This is a regularly threaded screw. Again, if on yours, if the slot on the screw looks weird, oh, here, I'll show you. If the slot on this screw looks like this one, see how this one, the slot doesn't go all the way across? That's your sign that's a reverse threaded screw. Half the time this is, half the time this isn't, you know, so. Okay, so there it is, big shouldered screw. Okay, so since that screw is out now and the set screw on the side is, if you'll focus, I should be able to just pull this out. Since everything else has been a bit tricky, we're going to assume this might be. There it goes. Okay, so this is the part that was stuck in there. That flat part is what that set screw was up against. So yeah, this is all going to need to get taken apart and cleaned because it's very gummy indeed. All right, with that out, I'm going to leave this bushing in place. It's not hurting anybody. This button's not hurting anybody. I'm going to go ahead and get this tension unit out. There's a screw there. But it should be set in enough that I don't need to pull that out yet. So over here, there's a place, a little set screw there. Will this fit? No. I'll grab a different bit. Let's see if I can just loosen up this set screw. There it goes. I'm going to pull this all the way out. Okay. Now this should pull out. There it goes. All right. I'm going to leave this intact right now. Look at that gunk. That's from gunk. Hang on. Okay. I'm just going to wipe that off a bit. So, yeah, this is going to be fine. She's cleaning everything, but I am going to need to take this apart when I well, you know what? Let's take her apart right now. Set this over here. You need to push these little numbers down. That is on there. Oh, pretty darn tight, actually. Let me try to unscrew this a bit. Okay, unscrew it until it won't unscrew anymore. Then push these numbers down and unscrew it more. There's a little peg there that's going to stop you if you try to do it without pushing the number wheel down. So there's that. Here we go. Little washer with the funky little finger. Beehive spring. The back side. That looks a little rough. These look a little rough, but they're doable. How's the spring look? The spring looks good. It's a bit dirty, but it looks complete and it looks strong, so that's great. This little screw over here is what is holding in that shaft. So let me back it out a bit. Let's back it out some more, huh? Okay, now there's absolutely no reason I shouldn't be able to pull this out. Tiny vice grips are my friend. I can rotate it enough, maybe. There it goes. Okay, so that's really gooey and yucky. Everything that it's gooey and yucky now was just rusty before, so there we go. Let me get these things bagged up and we'll move on. Okay, she is still moving very, very stiff. So when I get all this off, if she's still moving very, very stiff at that point, then I'll know it's something to do up on top, and that's when I'll get concerned. But before I get concerned, I want to make sure that this is good. Now it looks very gray. That's just the residual stuff from the evaporest. It'll polish off just fine. I'm going to start out down here. There is a screw. Let's see if I can turn this so I can get to it. Oops. Move her off the edge of the table a bit. Okay. If I can turn this, I think if I turn it straight up, I'll be okay. Yes, there's a screw right there. I want to loosen up. I can, you know what? Let's throw super yummy oil all over everything here. That screwdriver's too fat down there. This screw is what is clamping the hook from above on, and I really want to get that loosened so that I can pull it out. But again, everything is stuck. Nope. All right, I'm going to get a torch. I put oil in here. I'm going to get a torch, heat this whole little thing up here, see if that loosens stuff up, and then we'll try it again. Alright, I may have to come at this from a different direction then. Let's see if I can get this one off. Let's put the ratchet on. Okay. Ooh, that's a hot little screw. Alright, so I'm just going to leave that there for right now. I'll attack this screw later, but at least the hook part is a little bit free right now. I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver and try to loosen up this big one right here. broke something. Well, no, looks okay. All right, we're gonna do this a different way. Okay, let's see here. Does not want to go. Well, we're gonna let that sit for a while. I'll try impact gun a little bit later. In the meantime, I'm gonna deal with some other stuff here. Wow. Let's see if this one's gonna come loose. There we go. Okay, so I can put that away. That is just lint, nothing more. Okay, I'm going to work on this main shaft, or this rock shaft up here to get it out. Before I can do that though, I'm going to need to get the feed dogs off, which is this screw right here. If I can do it from this angle with the camera in front of my face. Oh my gosh, that's so... There it goes. Okay, so I should, oops, I still have this plate on. I need to get this plate pulled off here. Hang on, let me tip her up. Let's see how tight these little buggers are. It's very hard to get down underneath there sometimes, so I'm just putting a little bit on the ratchet itself. And that one's coming loose. So that's good. Kind of. Sort of. I guess I like to show the process on these super rusty, crusty girls, just to prove that it takes a lot for these machines to be, you know, unrestorable. And the parts that I'm replacing are purely aesthetic at this point. I don't know, I haven't gotten into it yet, but so far, the parts that I've taken off, they've been really seized. They're okay, they're just, you know, seized up. Okay. Let me pull this off, wipe that down. Again, all the goo was rust that was holding it together. Okay, so now I should be able to lift these out. Like that. Okay, so these are going to get cleaned up also. While I'm here though, look at this. This whole thing is freed up now. It's not stuck anymore because, you know, I have that loosened down below. But while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. So this lifts up, moves over, and I'm going to take this blade out for now. There you go. Careful with that. Okay, so with that moved over, I should be able to wiggle out this bobbin case. That looks like it's came out of a Mad Max movie. You know what? There is a piece that's broken. This bobbin case has a broken part. Let me show you in a second. Hang on. Not coming out easily, so I'm going to go ahead and take out this screw right now. This screw is the adjustment screw with the unfortunate name of the screw of death that I just dropped in there. Oh, come on out, screw. Dropped it, but it didn't go far, so let me pick that up. Okay, so that is off. So if I can move this over now. Oh, come on out. Oh my goodness, why are you being so obstinate? Okay, well, we're going to attack this another way. With this stuff, I'm going to flip her over on her side here. And looking straight down here, see this little screw? Not all machines have them, but she does. I'm going to try to loosen that up. Get you out of my way so I'm not hitting you. This should be a very long screw. It's going up against that shaft. Okay. All right. There it is. Which leaves us with this one again. So I'm going to give one more shot to this screw. I'm going to flip her over, but since I have a better access now, we'll see how it goes. All right, let's give it another try. And it's turning now. Yay. With all that other stuff removed, I can get at it with this screwdriver. Sometimes just patience makes the difference. All right, so now that's loosened up enough I can pull this off. So, at this point, I should be able to push this up. Good. Okay, as I was tapping, this came out, but what I want to show you is right here, there's a piece missing. There should be another little piece of metal coming out that makes kind of like a little claw here, and it's gone. So I will be having to swap out the bobbin case, but that's okay. Just make a note of that and continue tapping. Okay, so this popped out now. This is the bobbin case positioning bracket, you know, which goes with the bobbin case, of course. So it's actually like this. So what that screw of death does is there's this little spring here, and this is just really filthy. I'm going to have to redo this whole spring. I'm sorry, I just went off on a train of thought. Look, this is rusted in there, so this may be replaced also, but again, I can do that. So let me set these aside. This looks good. It looks whole. I can just polish it up really good, so at least that's salvageable. Okay, so skipping this again for now, we're just letting that rest. Now that all of that is gone, I'm going to go ahead and try to take this off, but before I can take the rock shaft off, I need to take this off because it's a lot easier to take this off while that's still attached. I have learned the hard way. So I need a 3/8 inch wrench. Is that it? To go in here, okay. So at righty tighty, lefty loosey, we are going to bump it up. Yay, that came loose freely. That's nice. That's so nice. All right, so that is off. Just hang on. That's very heavy with that ratchet on. And I need to be able to push the end here. Try to get it to go through. It's not going through. There it goes. The threads only happen in that nut. Once the nut comes off, this is all just shouldered stuff. And again, the goo means rust used to be here. Okay, so that is good. Up here, I need 9/16 inch wrench. So righty tighty, lefty loosey, and put it this way. There's a nut. Wow, that's dry in there. Okay. There goes that shaft. Okay. These I will take off when I'm cleaning it, just so I don't lose their position. Okay. It looks like I have about 1 millimeter of spacing on each side right now. And I want to keep that. That's very stiff. And I still have one more nut to take off. This way. Down here. Okay, so let me get this one off and then we'll work down here. Okay, still ignoring our problems over here, I'm going to go ahead and try to get this out. There is a little clamping screw down here. If I can loosen that up, that will make my life easier. I should get this out of the way first, but don't feel like tipping her up until I get this stuff out. Okay, so there's that little clamp screw. Okay. And then put the ratchety handle back on. Well, that came pretty easily. That's great. Okay, it's a little flat screw. Okay. All right, so that is loose there. I'm gonna go get my impact gun, prop this thing up in my wood vise, and try to use that to loosen up that nut. I gotta show you, it even beat up my impact gun bit. So I gotta try something else. Okay, I just want to show you, I changed out to a different hardier bit, and it did come out. So yay, that is off now. Okay. From the amount of stuff that I see here, I think at one point this was rusted solid inside of this shaft there. So yeah, put that there. That's gonna go with it. Let me get this bagged up, and I should have put this with the other pieces, but I'll just put that away too. I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull this thread guide out. At least straighten it up. It was very crooked. Actually, that looks pretty good. Now that I've straightened it up, it looks good. I might just leave that where it is. Okay, so what we still have to deal with here is the whole stitch length issue. But the question is, can the shaft move freely now? The answer is not really. So let's take the stitch length stuff off and see if that helps. I've got 2 little screws right here to remove this plate first. You may be asking yourself, Marie, why haven't you taken the belt guard and bobbin winder off yet? I say you might be asking yourself that because I was just asking myself that, because that would have made my life easier a few times. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. We'll disassemble the bobbin winder in a moment. But, okay. All right, looking at the end here, let me flip her around. I have this screw right here, which is hiding kind of underneath this bushing. And that bushing does not look very happy. I almost want to pull that bushing off because it's a bit nasty. I'm going to see if it'll come off easily. So there is a screw over here. Pull out. And usually I don't have to pull out bushings, but honestly everything on this machine is a bit troublesome, so I want to. Come on. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna stick it over here. Okay, I'm going to throw some oil in here. Maybe heat it up. Throw some oil in that little screw hole where it might be able to get somewhere, you know. And get my gear puller and see what we can do. Alright, I'm not sure if this is going to work. Got my little 2-prong gear puller here. I had to zip tie it on. I am out of large zip ties, so I had to piece together little guys. Oh, it's going to break. It's going to break. No, no, it's coming. It's coming. Yay, okay. Because this, and I can see very dry rust right there, that could have been also part of what was holding it on. Oopsie, ignore that, where I just dropped my wrench on my foot. I'm just unspinning this. Okay, so that's what that is, just a little 2-prong. And that was pretty rusty, so I'm glad I pulled that off. So with that off, now I can get to this screw easily. So again, switching bits to something more robust. Adding the ratchet. Dropping the ratchet. Okay. It is coming loose, so that's a great thing. Alright, I think that's good. At a certain point, they're not threaded anymore, they're just kind of stuck. It's hard to tell exactly where that point is sometimes. I'm at the stuck stage. There it goes. Okay, so I have this big shouldered screw and this 3-pronged washer. Okay. And now I should be able to pull this fork out. And I did. Yay. That actually came out very easily. This bearing should come off. It's very sticky. Okay. And let's see if I can pull it from the back. Maybe. Maybe not. Hang on, maybe stick a magnet in from her butt. Okay. And this is going to get painted up here. You know, they usually come with white paint that's in a sorry state of appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and paint that. So I'll stick it with the wheel. Alright, so big question is, now that absolutely nothing, well here, let me put this away and then we'll test the main shaft. Alright, I have put oil in her and I could hear where it sounded like it was a little tight up here. I put oil in that spot and I am just spinning it to try to get all of that oil worked in. I want to make sure that she is freed up before I strip her. If I can't get her freed up before I strip her, there's no point in stripping her, you know. But she's getting better and better, so give me a bit. I'm just going to keep on working her, and I'll let you know how that goes, and then we'll take apart the bobbin winder, and she'll be ready. All right, I think she's going to be fine. It's like usually there's a point where that sweet spot where the rust gets hit, and now we're good. Now you can probably still hear a bit of noise up there. That doesn't bother me. What I really want to make sure of is that this could move fairly freely, and the more I turn it, the more it gets. Because she's going to be sitting in my hot paint stripper bath, and that's going to get into all the nooks and crannies again. And so I think we're going to be great. Yay! Happy about that. One more save from the landfill. Okay, so there's a couple more things I need to do. Down here there is a thread guide. needs to come off. Oh my goodness. Hey, but at least it doesn't roll around anymore. So I've got my little rusty thread guide off, which will get polished up. And let's take apart the bobbin winder now. Okay, so there are various styles of bobbin winder. This is what we have here. She'll of course get a new tire. Let's just go ahead and get started here. Oh, try not to stab yourself. There's a lot of springs in here, so just watch where they go. Should pop out. There it goes. Okay. So we've got a spring in here. Looks like that. It looks complete. Fabulous. I'm going to try to pop this screw out. A bit dry and stuck. This I'm leaving as is. It is currently stuck. I need to get that loosened up before I strip her too, though. What I'm going to do is put oil all around these edges here, and I'm going to go get my drill. Now, depending on how sticky this is, if I can't hold it, I'll have to clamp that into a clamp. But I'm just going to start really slow. Ah, there it goes. All right, she's moving freely now. So that's good. She just needed a little helping hand. Oops, hang on. Okay, so she is out of there. And now, yeah, now she spins freely, so that's good. That can go in to be stripped. So put it over there with those guys. I've got this screw up here to pull off. Okay, this one's just a little shorter threaded screw like that. And this thing is off, so that will get cleaned. And this is going to get stripped and repainted. This is actually one of the simpler styles of bobbin winder. This is just staying together as far as I want to. Well, no, I might as well take it apart. Hang on. It'll make it easier to clean if I can get this apart. Now there's going to be a spring under here too, so careful. There it is. Okay, so those are the bobbin winder parts. Everything besides that is going to get stripped and painted. One last thing, sometimes people wonder how to get these badges off, and you can do it however you want to, whatever works for you. And they're all put on slightly different, and the machines all have slightly different amounts of clearances back here, and this does not have a lot. What I find in general that works for me on all machines, Singer machines with these medallions, which you can see that one just came off. What it is first I grind down the heads very carefully with a little stone on my Dremel. Okay. Once it's ground off where there's just a hair of that brass still on top, then I come back with a pretty beefy punch and get it started so I have a depressed place in the middle. Then I come back with another punch, which I don't see here, which I just had. It's a 1/16 inch punch that looks like this. That's big enough to go in the holes. Okay, so I punched that one out, and then because there was so little of the stuff on top, you saw it just popped out, and then I can tap this, and the rest of that pin falls into the cavity, And then when I put it back on, I'll just use new pins. So anyway, she is officially done, ready to go into the tank. So thanks for coming along on this journey with me. And next time you see her, I probably will not show painting her. Painting videos, they're kind of dull because it's the same thing. You strip them, you prime them, you mask them, then you prime them, then you color coat them, then you decal them, then you clear coat them, with various wait times in between. And I've shown that a boatload of times. But yeah, I'll show you putting her back together again and show you how good those parts came out, and her new bobbin case, because I'm going to grab one of those from my stash. So thanks again, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.